I'm going to call this meeting to order. My name is Peter Hoffman, Chair of the Economic Development Committee. This is a remotely conducted open meeting. As a preliminary matter, this meeting may be audio or video recorded. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Paul Anderson.
Here.
Jason Rowell.
Here. Jeff
Green.
Here.
And I am Peter Hoffman. With a quorum of the committee present, I call this meeting to order at 6:02 on Thursday, April 14th, 2022, which leaves us to guests. And if Matt's still there, no, Matt's gone. Let's talk about the minutes. Let's get that out of the way. Did all of you have a chance to review them by chance?
I did.
I did too.
Yes.
Excellent. Any objections?
No.
All right, hearing no objections, I make a motion to approve the January 4th, 2021, February 4th, 21, April 15th, 21, September 7th, 21, and December 9th, 21. Second?
Second.
Well, I can second. That's fine.
Any further discussion? I'll just say one thing. To make life simple, I'll just sign them instead of you, Paul. If that's okay.
Fine. Yep.
And hearing nothing further, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Sounds like that passes and gets us out of minutes jail. Hold on a second. One moment. Yeah. Since we've got no guests, let me talk about Spooky World. All of you are familiar to some extent about Spooky World, and it's being dormant for many years.
Yes, that much I'm familiar with.
So I attended late because we had a flood in our basement. Their briefing a couple weeks ago at 19 Carter. I missed the presentation, so I'm in the dark. I got a personal presentation from Carol, the project manager, just a little while ago. In some substance, they're going to move their not-for-profit to Spooky World. They're going to develop the stone building in a historical manner. They're going to take the added building that was added some time ago in the 70s, reconstruct it to Tyler Farm specs.
So Peter, what's getting moved? I mean, I know nothing about this.
Okay, so you may have seen the StevensFamilyFoundation.org link in the agenda.
Yes. Okay. So it's the Stevens fan. I got you.
They're moving their watch collection, which is one of the largest in the world. Their Batmobile collection of 3 originals there, 30 cars, which are all registered and insured. I'd like to be the insurance agent for that. He's got a big movie collection. They're going to restore the barn. They're going to demo the metal building on the left and replace it with a 150 by 80 museum. And they're going to add on a front building of 40 by 60. I'm guessing that's the office lobby. I'm not sure. So there's a lot of development going on there. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. But I think it strikes me as a good thing because something dormant and rotting away is going to turn into something useful. It's going to take a year to develop. Did anybody else click on the link and watch or read or anything else?
No, I started to and then I didn't finish it up.
So that's it. I mean, there's not much to tell. Not much to tell about that.
Were they able to talk to conservation already?
I think they're highly wound up, tight. I think they're tightly involved with every organization in town. This was a very crowded event. I got there an hour and a half late and it was still very crowded. Police, fire, conservation, planning, ZBA, Everyone was there, at least members wise and citizens in town.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's anything we should think about or do, but I don't think there is, unless you guys can think of something.
No, I mean, it sounds like they're moving forward, right? I mean, they
Yeah,
didn't ask us to do anything, right?
Well, they purchased it. I spoke to Tim, and Tim felt that they may have put a little bit of the cart before the horse, zoning wise, because it may not be zoned for all the things they want to do, but he doesn't imagine that at a town meeting that couldn't be corrected.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything else. I don't think there's anything else worthy of discussion.
Okay.
Spooky world wise.
Okay.
He has a 16-year-old daughter, which drives him, I'm sure, in part, who has Down syndrome. She's a world ambassador. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
So Cabela's Bob Pope is supposed to show up. He's we've got people in the, hold on.
Oh, they're waiting.
Yes. My bad. 1 second.
I made it.
Yep, sorry. I apologize. I didn't. All right, let's see. Okay, that's everyone. I apologize to everyone for waiting. I didn't realize you were waiting, and this is a manual thing. I've got to let you in. So welcome, Liz. Welcome, Bob. Welcome, Matt, and welcome, Keith.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
Turn your cameras on so we can see how unshaven you are as well. That excludes Liz, of course.
Okay.
Anyway, who would like to go first? Bob? Well, let's save Bob if you don't mind. Keith, why don't you give us a quickie on how R&B is doing and who you are, since not everyone may know who you are.
Okay, well,
It's Highland Liquors, my apologies.
yeah, I was wondering what R&B was. I was like, oh, I don't know what that is.
From
Yeah,
R&B
that's right.
Landscaping, I invited, but I had a senior moment.
Well, yeah, we own a liquor store in the plaza, in Highland Plaza, and things are going good. I mean, our weekends are very good. Our weekends are good. Our Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday sometimes are a little slow sometimes, but the weekends have been going very good. We're happy with our growth so far. We'd like to, of course, you'd like to see more, but that is happening right now. I mean, it's customers like the store, and we're kind of starting to find our way. So things are good right now.
Yeah, if you could speak a bit louder going forward, that'd be great. But we heard what you said. That's great to hear. Thank you. Just to give perspective, Liz, Keith is at Highland Commons and Liz runs Solomon Pond. So there may or may not be a networking opportunity for the two of you. And Bob Pope, who you see on the screen, who's silent, runs Cabela's. And Matt Senni runs Riverbridge. Keith, that's great. Is there anything that the town can do for you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, everything's been okay so far. So no, there's nothing that I would ask the town for at this time.
Paul, Jason, Jeff, any questions?
Yeah, Keith, you were saying you're starting to find your way. I'm just wondering does that mean that you are adjusting some of your inventory for what people are buying here
Adjusting
versus
some of our
elsewhere?
inventory. We're kind of finding out who our customers are and where they're coming from. We're getting some emails out. We've got a marketing group that has been sending out emails for us, and that has been pretty effective. Today, actually, we have a beer tasting going on at the store, and it's been they've been I'm in Buffalo right now, but they've been sending me pictures, and it's been well received, and there's a lot of people in the store walking around, checking things out. So at least they know we're there, and they are coming in. So that's the one thing. Like on these tastings too, we don't look for them to be big sale days. But as long as the people come into the store, they know where we are, they get comfortable with the store, it's always a good opportunity for customers to see what we're all about. And the tastings have been going good so far.
Where are you guys advertising those at all? I mean, other than on the sidewalk, I assume, right? But is there any other way to get that up as people driving by the mall or anything like that?
That's the one thing we still got to search. We did a big mailer that went out, and we didn't get a great response back. We got maybe 3-4% back from the mailing. We are sending out a bunch of emails, which is what a lot of our customers are telling us that they pay attention to. So we've been doing that, but we're still trying to find, we put some ads in papers through Marlboro. And I forget the name of the paper right now, but it's kind of like a penny saver through Marlboro, Stowe, and all the different areas. But again, that wasn't super effective. So we're still trying to find out which one is the one we need to go with. And so.
Yeah, it would seem like a sign out on the road that you guys are having a tasting might draw a lot of people. There's a lot of traffic on 62 there.
Yeah. No, there is. I think, well, we didn't, putting a sign out on the main road, are you talking about down?
Yeah, I may not be allowed to. I don't know. I'm just some way to get folks in.
I don't know that we can do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we probably should have, we do have signs coming into the plaza, and we should have just kind of put something over the top of those signs saying beer tasting or whatever.
Right.
But, yeah, we will for the next time. So there's a lot of people coming into that plaza all the time. So
There are. Yeah. And I'll make sure to go and sign my just the email address as you sign up, right? Because I haven't gotten an email from you. I thought I signed up before, but maybe I didn't.
okay, yeah, they have email slips up in the front of the store. So or email, a form to sign up and put your email in there.
Right.
Right at the register. So maybe that's what happened. You went in, you didn't buy nothing, you walked out.
No, I bought stuff, but I didn't. I thought I signed up, but I guess not. I missed that.
You could be on there and we just somehow are missing.
Yep.
Jeff, Jason?
I mean, I'll say from a consumer standpoint, I've always had good service in there. Your staff seems to be knowledgeable and friendly, and working in retail, I know how important that is. So
Yeah.
I'm sure hearing that feedback is always good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we struggled in the beginning to get the right people in there, part-time and our full-time people. But I think we got a pretty decent group in there right now, especially management-wise. Our managers are very, we feel like we got a good group in there.
So you say the tasting is going on right now?
I'm
I'm
sorry.
gonna have to sign off. I'll be back.
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
I was saying I'm gonna have to sign off if the tasting is going right now. So
Oh yeah, right. But yeah, part-time help right now is always a struggle. I think we have maybe about 12 to 15 part-timers, and 4 to 6 of them are guys and girls that you want to keep, and the other ones are just filling the schedule. Struggle for everybody right now.
Good. Well, thanks, Keith. Liz, would you like to say something to Keith, networking wise and otherwise? The floor is yours.
Sure. It's nice to meet all of you that are joining today. This is only my second meeting. I've only been here since September, for those of you who don't know me. So, things here at the mall are looking up, getting better, traffic's improving. We have a great program that counts traffic for us. And last week, for the first time since I've been here, and since September, we came very close to hitting 2019 traffic numbers, which was pretty darn good. We consistently beat 2020, or I should say, yeah, in 2021, we were consistently beating 2020, which was terrible. And this year we've been consistently beating 2021, but really the goal is to kind of get our traffic numbers back up to 2019 pre-pandemic kind of traffic. And this was the first week we came close. So that's good news. We have our Mexican restaurant finally opened. They had several delays getting open, but they finally opened. So that's good news. We have another
Is it the food
offering
court?
in the
Where
food
is it?
court. Yeah, it's in the food court.
Mhm.
So I, recommend everyone give it a try. I tried it today. It's all made fresh. Nothing is frozen and brought in. They make everything fresh here on site. So the food was very good. And working out some kinks from a service standpoint, but the food was great. And then, we are stabilizing. When we came in and took over the property, our primary goal was to stabilize the occupancy. And, we've certainly had a few stores that were slated to close before we got here that we couldn't save, but for the most part, we've been keeping everybody in place. We have some new stores opening up, primarily local operators right now, but we have a good pipeline of national tenants, and actually some tenants that had left under Simon's watch that are considering coming back. So things are moving in the right direction, we feel like. And that's kind of the update. We have some road construction going on in Marlboro in front of us right now, so it's a little messy out there. And that's going to be going on until the spring, putting in some sidewalks and repaving that Donald Lynch Boulevard from the Macy's light down to Bigelow Street. So
Okay, that's
that
right.
work's underway, and it's depending on the day you get here. Sometimes the road is open as per normal, and sometimes we're squeezing 4 lanes into 2. But for the most part, it's been uneventful, and it's mostly Monday through Friday. So the weekends, we're not impacting our busiest time as far as customer traffic. So I think it's going to be good when it's done. And they're doing their best to keep it from impacting us too much right now. That's it for me.
Liz, is the vacancy rate slipping or growing?
It's been stable. We've lost a few, like I said, that were kind of slated to close before we walked in the door. We've opened a few local tenants since then. So it really hasn't changed dramatically one way or the other since I've been here in September. I mean, the leasing kind of takes a while to gear up, and there are deals in the pipeline that will hopefully start bringing the occupancy figures up over the course of the next, few months.
And what about the fact that you're still in receivership? Are they going to buy you, or are they going to sell it off, or what is the thinking? Do you know?
I'm not sure that they have a long-term, or that they've established a long-term plan yet for what they want to do. The original intent is to take a year, maybe 2, to stabilize. When between the pandemic and some neglect going on here, the property was obviously in some disrepair and was having some occupancy issues. So, before they put it on the market, I think the marching orders are to let's get it fixed up. Let's get everything looking good. Let's try to get the renewals completed, some new deals in the door, and then we'll talk about whether we're going to sell it, redevelop it, what the plan is from there. So right now we're just working on kind of phase 1, which is stabilize it, get it cleaned up. I don't know if anybody's been down here in the last few months, but and you remember maybe what it looked like 8 months ago versus now, but we've made some great strides just cleaning up parking lots and broken tiles in the mall and lights that weren't being turned on and light bulbs that were burned out and painting entrances. I mean, it is literally never ending. Because I think the mall has been neglected for several years. So, until we get everything kind of up where it needs to be, I don't think they're interested in selling it until they have a better product to put on the market.
What do you hear about Sears, and do you have a relationship with them now?
I don't really have a relationship with Sears. I've reached out to them a few times, but I do know the broker that's working with them to try to sell that parcel. I know there's been some interest from some manufacturing, but that's not, to me, that's not really a viable bid for this property because it's, first of all, it's against the REA. They're not gonna be able to open that kind of a facility here. And the cost of trying to maneuver through the REA, I think is going to be cumbersome for anybody. So I know it's being marketed. I've seen the offering memorandum, but other than that, I don't know where they stand as far as offers, other than the one that I heard from a plastics manufacturing company.
Sorry to be ignorant. What is an REA?
Reciprocal easement agreement. So it is kind of the controlling document that the department stores and anchor stores sign when the property is built that says we all agree to operate a retail establishment and we're not gonna, this is not, plus the zoning will impact it as well, but basically it governs what you can put on the property from a legal standpoint. And all the department stores agreed to it when the property was built.
And you're inclined to think that your owners or your holding company would not amend that agreement?
Well, you'd have to get every department store to agree to it, which I
Oh,
don't think you will do. I'm pretty sure Macy's is not going to say, yeah, sure, let's bring plastics manufacturing in as my neighbor.
got it. Where do you see the mall in 2 to 5 years?
I mean, hopefully, we actually have had a few folks reach out to us about the Sears parcel that are on the retail side of things. And I think if we can redevelop that parcel, that the properties get a lot of potential. Like I said, the traffic numbers are improving. It's something that we hope to continue to move forward as an operating retail center. Maybe it's, part of it is turned inside out. Maybe there's an area that's turned into restaurants. I mean, there are all kinds of examples and opportunities where malls have been, redeveloped into retail, mixed use kind of centers and been very successful. And I think this is probably a prime candidate for something like that.
Is the OM subject to a non-disclosure, or can you share it?
I just pulled it right offline.
Okay.
So it is not any kind of secret. It's JLL, Jones Lang LaSalle, that's brokering it. And I actually just Googled it and managed to drill down and find it on their website.
Joe LaSalle?
Jones Lang LaSalle, JLL.
Got it. All right.
That property is pretty big. Is it possible for one person to split it into multiple things within that, first floor different than the second floor?
Sure. I mean, I've seen other centers that have done that. They put a Dick's Sporting Goods on one level and something else on another level. And that may be something down the road that our ownership entertains, is attempting to get control of that parcel. Like I said, we've had some interest from retail uses in the space. Some of them we've said, go talk to Jones Lang LaSalle, maybe you can buy the parcel, then you can build your retail store on top of the footprint of Sears. And some of them, if and when we decide to get control of that parcel, we would probably look at dividing it up.
Got it.
How's the theater, Liz, how's the theater doing? I mean, it's back
Good, they're
open.
coming back. I mean, again, that business in general isn't what it was 5 years ago, but these
Right.
last few, maybe 4 months, there's been a lot of blockbuster movies coming out. So the traffic is definitely improving and their sales are definitely improving. And I can tell you, my wall is on the theater building, so I can hear those movies.
Okay.
And they're running a lot over there. So yeah, they're definitely on the uptick, and they're somebody that we're working with right now to make sure that they continue to operate here.
Yeah, that'd be great, because I've seen Showcase Cinemas in various places. They've shut down, and it's nice that these guys reopened. And you're right, the parking lot when we've been to the mall several times recently, the parking lot has been fuller certainly now than it did a year ago or whatever. I mean, it's not like it was, but it's better.
Yeah, and we just finished the deal with Regal, kind of a workout deal with them to make sure that they continue to operate. And we compromised a little on some of the money they owed Simon before we got here. And I don't know how much history but Simon got into a legal battle with Regal in general, not just this one, but all of the Regals in all of their centers. Took them to court. It got ugly. So there was some risk here for a little while, but we just finalized that deal yesterday. So
Super.
good.
Was that friction due to COVID or something different?
I think a combination of probably some inflexibility on Simon's part when COVID hit, to work out deals with some of these tenants. And I don't know the details of it. I just know that when we took over the property, there was a little animosity there.
Did Pacific take the debt over as well?
Pacific's just the management company, so we're not even the receiver. But yeah, the receiver took the debt.
Got it. Interesting. Well, sounds like it's a struggle, but you're getting there, which we are all thankful for.
Fighting the good fight.
Yep. And the Mexican restaurant, just for my information, it is a typical food court restaurant. It's not like Chili's or something like that, right? Or Bertucci's, where you can't sit down in it. It's still, you sit out in the food
Correct.
court. Okay.
But they are also, from what I understand, doing catering out of this location. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's a typical food court.
We'll have to try it.
But aren't there little tables in the court?
Oh, there
Oh
are.
yeah, food
Absolutely.
court has
Yeah.
plenty of tables, sure.
Yeah. But we typically we'll do a lot of the Japanese Sakura, I think it's called.
Yep.
Yeah, we do that a lot.
Yep.
It's great.
Good.
Great, Liz. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Matt, you're up, if you can hear us. Matt?
He's muted.
Yeah. Matt, you're muted. Hello? Well, when you hear us and can talk, please unmute and talk. All right, Bob, how are you?
Hello, doing well, thanks.
Your camera's off, or is that intentional?
It's off. I haven't figured out how to turn it on my phone. Sorry. I will figure it out for the next meeting.
All right. It seems like Matt may be there, because I think Matt will be more brief than you, if that's okay. Matt, are you there? Unmute yourself.
We can see Matt.
Okay, now you can talk.
Good evening, you all.
Matt, the floor is yours.
Thank you for inviting me. By way of update at Riverbridge, our hotel is the best performing of the 12 Rodell Ceni properties. We're partners with the Rodells. The apartments, I'm pleased to say, are 100% leased out with a waiting list. And it's been very well received, and the people that manage it think it's being run. They're very, very pleased with the tenant mix. It has a mixture more of young professionals and less of retirees than we originally anticipated, but we're very, very pleased. To the best of my knowledge, the daycare is back at over 120 students a day. which is just about where they were in 19. So they're very pleased. The gas station, people complain, they grumble, but they have to buy the gas. So they're happy. And Dunkin' Donuts will have a remodeling that'll be starting this Monday. They will be closed for 11 days. So that'll probably drive a little business over to the Village Cafe and the Red Barn property where Riverbridge is both the tenant and the landlord. And we still have 3.7 acres in where the old liquor store used to be. It's zoned only for retail. Many people in town hope that we'll bring some additional styled housing to that area, but there's an equal number of people in town that think it could be a vacant lot for a long time. Everybody seems relatively confident that retail is not making its comeback on our property anytime in the near future. We may go back to town meetings at some point with a new proposal to do something on the property, but right now we're just sitting there with that 3.5 acres and nowhere to go. Any ideas or support from your organization is always appreciated. Other than that, we're very pleased with the tenants and the partnerships we have at Riverbridge. We were disappointed in a town meeting last May, but we've recovered from that. We're working well with the town on different things that might work out in the long-term benefit for both the town and Riverbridge. So basically, that's my synopsis, and I'm here to answer any questions anybody might have about Riverbridge.
So the opposition to non-retail, what would they prefer to have there?
They just want retail. They you know, I'm very candid and say it could sit there for 10 years and they can say, so be it. Eventually somebody will come with a great idea with for what it's zoned for. You know, but 10 years is a long time to have a vacant lot in the middle of a mixed use development. So we're hoping that cooler heads will prevail and that some sort of rezoning might be allowed in the future.
Have you and Liz connected since the last meeting?
No, I went in to see her, I guess in November, and she wasn't around that particular day. And I do mean to reach out to her. I think she's got her hands full over there, and I think they're doing a great job. And we have people coming over every day from the mall, some employees that we see almost on a regular basis, and then some people that just were shopping, and they just come in and grab a cup of coffee or grab a six-pack or usually wine, I guess, if they've come from the mall. But they're a great neighbor, and I'm hoping they can continue to get back to 19 numbers for us.
So when you both have a chance, would you connect?
I'm gonna, now that I've re-seen Liz again, I'm gonna make it my business to get in there and say hello in the upcoming week.
There's just got to be some synergy there.
There certainly needs to be.
All right,
Yeah,
Paul?
and I'm putting the onus on me to get over there to say hello, Liz.
Thank you. That'd be great. Anytime.
Paul, Jeff, Jason, anything?
I do not have it.
I know you were trying to, is that the space you were trying to repurpose with a restaurant, a BYOB restaurant and some different things?
No, we wanted to put 26 townhomes.
Oh, that's right.
There, and then we skipped it back to 18, and we didn't go forward, so the towns never voted on it. But we just couldn't get good enough enthusiasm. There was kind of an anti-housing, anti-Riverbridge tone permeating kind of throughout town hall at that time, and that's what we've been trying to overcome in the last year, candidly. And so I'm hoping, you know, the calmer heads will prevail. If Riverbridge could do something with that front area, even if it was, you know, 9 duplexes, 18 units, it would be enough. It would be enough to open that. It close Riverbridge up as a community. You know, yeah. We're very proud of what's built there, but then we have this hole in the middle. We want to finish up Riverbridge. We're very proud of it, but we want to finish it.
Yeah, Matt, before you did the townhouses, though, you were talking, I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago, maybe pre-COVID, to a restaurant potential.
Oh, it was a 7,000 square foot restaurant. We went and got financing. The restaurant went and got financing, and maybe some deals in real estate are the best deals you make are the ones you don't make. We could have been half built when COVID hit, and that
Right.
would have been a disaster for everybody. But it was a wonderful opportunity for Riverbridge. It was a wonderful opportunity for the potential tenant. We were both financially invested. We both had spent a fair amount of money getting to where we got. We'd been in front of the planning board, I think twice. And, but when it blew up pretty quickly, just as COVID hit. And they're not coming back. We are in negotiations now with some people that are very interested in coming to Riverbridge, a restaurant that's very interested in coming to Riverbridge. And I think, if not for I think by July, I might have some good news on a restaurant.
Matt, can you say the name of the restaurant that failed a couple of years ago?
The one that failed a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
I don't want to, but it's pretty much out there. But I don't want to, anyone who calls me privately, I'll tell, but I don't want to kind of out there for the whole world to hear.
That's fine.
And the new restaurant, Matt, that would go where? That would go in front of the hotel, or that would
In
go
front of the depending on the size of the restaurant, it either go in front of the hotel or in front of the daycare center.
Okay, all right.
But I'll have more in July. I'll have more news, and I'll come to your next. I will enthusiastically share it with you all. Tonight,
Cool.
I can't share it.
Okay.
All right. At this point, guys, I'm about 6 minutes from my son's house. It's starting to rain pretty hard. So I am going to pull out of the rest of the meeting because I need to focus on the traffic at hand here.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
I'm glad you guys are back having monthly or semi-monthly meetings. And I appreciate any additional support that any of you can give us. We love this town. We love being part of the community. And to the degree that anybody can give us a helping hand with us, getting us over the finish line, we appreciate.
All right, Matt, drive safely. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Have a good Easter holiday, everybody.
All
Thank
right,
you.
so long.
You too.
You too.
All righty. So Liz and Bob, please meet each other. Bob runs Cabela's. Liz runs the Solomon Pond Mall down the street, sort of, kind of. Bob, the floor is yours to chat up and tell us about Cabela's, and then tell us about what feedback you got on the sign proposal.
Sure. So we finished last year. It was a very strange year for everybody, but we finished up about 25% increase over 2020. And It was by far the best year that this store has ever seen. Now, you can attribute a lot of it to panic buying of ammunition. And that still continues today, although at a slower rate than it did last year. But I think one positive of COVID and all the restrictions and stuff, a lot of people wanted to get outside, so they needed to buy the gear to do it. And that really kind of put the Berlin Cabela's on the map for a lot of folks that maybe didn't even know it existed or was there. And we continue to see that growth today in all of our departments. So yeah, we're just continuing on our staffing. I know, Peter, when I met you about a year ago, probably my biggest frustration was staffing. And it was really a challenge to get any kind of hourly help, even at inflated rates. But I'm happy to say today that, we're always going to have a couple cashier positions open, but in all our key positions, we're staffed with experienced outfitters now.
That's great.
Just to jump to the sign, all I can really say, unfortunately, is stay tuned. I think I'm going to have a few more questions for you early next week. But I love the idea that, and I like the location of it too, right over by the mall.
Has your leadership given you some feedback?
I have a call scheduled for Monday with the folks in marketing that generally would purchase the billboard space that we purchase. And so I'll have, again, more feedback then. But I know that when we're up in Hooksett, when we were on the attractions boards for the exit, that we were paying about $4,000 a year for that. So granted, this isn't going to see the same traffic as one of those attraction signs do on the highway, but I think the price is reasonable for what it will see, what traffic will go by there.
Great. So let me interject that, we're going to talk about it during or after your presentation and we'll probably approve the plan. It's not intended to be presumptuous. We hope it'll work. If it doesn't work on your end, well, got the approval in case that happens. But go ahead, tell us more about the store.
What can I tell you? So right now, the Easter Bunny is at our store. In fact, right now, right after you go to your beer tasting, you can run over and get a free photo with the Easter Bunny.
Did you bring chocolate?
There is chocolate available there for sale. The Easter Bunny came last weekend. It's a shorter thing, much shorter than when Santa comes at Christmas time. But we were kind of taken aback by how many people. It's by appointment. Of course, we'll take anybody that walks in too, but it's by appointment. We can take, I think it's about, if I remember correctly, I think it's 8. We do 8 photos per 15 minutes. So we can schedule eight families per 15 minutes. It's not a lot of interaction. They sit down, most of the kids are screaming, and then we get the picture and then they get out. But the first weekend was booked solid 5 days prior to the event. We took more photos and sold more photo packages of the Easter Bunny in that first weekend than we did when Santa was at the store. So I think part of that is we did a really good job this Christmas with promoting the Santa being in the store. The families found us, and now they're back to see the Easter Bunny, and it just drives incremental traffic and hopefully exposes some families to what we sell that maybe are under the perception that we only sell hunting, guns, and fishing poles, and find out we sell lots of camping gear and clothing and all that good stuff.
I love your clothing.
Oh, thank you.
And Jason runs Wegmans. Maybe Wegmans needs a Easter Bunny.
Oh, our mall has an Easter Bunny.
Okay.
I think the key, the signature piece to our Santa and Easter Bunny are both that anybody can come in and get a free photo, and we're not going to charge them or not allow them to take a photo from their own phones as along with it. So that's built a lot of goodwill for us over the years. I mean, I've been doing this with Santa and the Easter Bunny since 2007 over in Foxborough at Bass Pro Shops, and then up in New Hampshire. So it's really grown, and it's a tradition for a lot of families now.
That's great. So does 2022 look more promising than the previous?
It's a little bit softer. I'm not going to lie. Part of it is folks have settled down, and I think their basements are already full of enough bullets. So that piece has slowed down. We're sitting down about 5% versus last year at this time, which is still about 20% more than our best year ever. As if you look at it like that, of course, we're always looking at what we did last year and how can we comp that. And I think we'll do that through, I'm just going to toot my own horn, dramatically improve merchandising standards. And a lot of our in-stocks are in a much better place than they were last year. There's still plenty of supply chain issues. I'm sure they are at Wegmans as well. But we are in a healthy position in a lot of key categories that we weren't in last year. So as we go into Memorial Day and into the summer months and Father's Day, which are big, almost as big as Christmas times for us, I think we're in a much better position than we were last year. With some of the other headwinds that we're up against would be there's no stimulus checks being mailed out this year to everyone. So some of that spending has curtailed a bit. And then additionally, I mean, it's no secret, there's inflation everywhere. And so we experience it as well. I've had to have price increases on things. So, but that's where we're at.
Has your motorized traffic decreased due to gas pricing?
Yeah, you mean traffic into the store?
No, I didn't say that right. It has your motorized sales that require gas or diesel decrease.
No, so boats and ATVs. We're holding steady so far with boats and ATVs. The problem is there's no stock. If you didn't order a boat to have it built and delivered, if you walked in today, you'd probably be looking at September to get that boat in hand. So, but no, the demand is absolutely that's still there, despite price increases and gas prices.
So I think the short answer is you're a healthy store and remaining healthy.
Yeah, no question about it. Yep. And I think like I said, we're in a much better place from a staffing perspective, in stock perspective, customer, which relates to customer service. And yeah, we're in good shape.
Great. Let me just bring on Tim Wheeler. Maybe not. Hold on.
While you're bringing Tim on, I was just wondering if you had any involvement with the fishing derby this weekend.
Oh, good question. I was going to ask the same thing. Yep.
So for the fishing derby this weekend, we did donate I think it was not a significant donation this year. I think it was $50 gift card. And I've explained, or we've explained to the gentleman that runs the event, we've got this fantastic grant program that we offer. I don't know if you've bought anything in our store, but we have a roundup program. So, if it's $5.50, we ask you to round up 50 cents and it goes to conservation. So if you look on our wall, there's a whole bunch of pictures of national conservation groups that we work with, like Ducks Unlimited, Trout Unlimited, and things like that. But a piece of the roundup gets to stay in the store that we can donate locally. And last year that amounted to $10,000. So we gave $2,000 to the local Boy Scout camps in the form of product that they could purchase in the store. And then we gave $8,000 to, and I wish I could remember the name of it off the top of my head. I'll think of it as soon as we get off this call. But it was a group that takes disabled veterans on hunting and fishing trips. And we can absolutely channel money to things like a Berlin fishing derby. And I would love to do that. But there is a application process and you can't apply for that 5 days or 10 days before the event. It's just not enough time. It has to go through a board that heads up this charity program. So we need more like a couple months. And we've explained that, and I'm hopeful that we can do a lot more next year.
Great. Well, thank you. Paul, Jeff, Jason, anything else?
That's great.
All right. Tim, say hello. Would you like to meet Bob Pope, who's the GM of Cabela's, and Liz, where'd Liz go? There's Liz, is the property manager, mall manager of Solomon Pond. Meet Tim Wheeler, planning board.
Good evening.
Tim. How are you?
Oh, and I missed Keith. Keith is above you in my screen. Keith runs Highland Liquors. Go ahead, Tim.
Good. Well, I'm glad to see all these different faces participating in this type of discussion, because through these times, it's always interesting to keep the dialogue going, obviously. And, what we've said on the planning board is that if there's anything that we need to think about in regard to zoning modifications, funnel that through the EDC, because we're open and willing to entertain, opportunities that might be there and that you might need some assistance with. So unfortunately with zoning, it takes, modification to the zoning bylaw perhaps, and that can take months and months if you got to go through a town meeting process. But so if you can think about stuff that's on your agenda that might make a difference to your livelihood, that would be important to forecast ahead of time so we can include it on the warrant for upcoming town meetings and move it through the process.
This applies to you, Liz, most importantly, because you've got some zoning changes that might be helpful in the unbuilt space. And then maybe Liz, can you just real quick talk about the Sears REA and plastic entity that might have come and the obstacles? Just repeat that real quick to Tim, if you would.
Sure. So from what I understand, there's a plastic manufacturer that has expressed some interest in buying the Sears parcel. And there are REAs in place, agreements between the entities that own the shopping center. Both of the department stores and well, all three, Sears actually also is party to it, as well as the developer, which is now us, have a reciprocating easement agreement that, basically governs what can be built on the site. And barring amending that agreement, there is only really the capacity to put additional retail.
Right.
So the manufacturer of the plastics manufacturer really, it's not something that could be done today. And I think that JLL, who is the broker for that parcel, has expressed to them that, the REA wouldn't allow them to move their manufacturing facility here. And so he reached out to me to see if the owners, had any interest in, working with him to try to, work their way through that reciprocal easement agreement. But, benefit for us, I think is minimal to have plastics manufacturing here adjacent to the mall. So I don't know whether or not they're going to support it in any way, shape, or form, but I ran it up the flagpole and put it in the owner's hands. And, from what I understand, they're having some legal conversations to see whether it's something they want to pursue. But my understanding is that it's going to be a difficult process because you have to get buy-in from the department stores. And as I mentioned before, I just don't see that a Macy's or a Penny's is going to say, hey, that's a good idea.
So Tim, the Sears box is for sale and there's an offering memorandum out there.
Yeah. So I think it's important for that entity that you're working with internally to try to forecast what uses you think you folks and the other department stores that own their pads would be comfortable with, and try to work with the EDC, and then through the planning board, we can fabricate some zoning modifications that we think we could get through the town meeting. And then be in a position where, you'd be able to accommodate some of these new proposals in a nimble fashion, rather than having to say, well, okay, that's wonderful, but it's going to take us 6 or 8 months to get through the town meeting process. We'd be ashamed to lose a good candidate for a project just because we didn't have some of the zoning in place. And we understand that retail is going through some changes, and there may be compatible uses that aren't retail that would work well with your project. I mean, if you look at Natick Mall, where there's housing and, they built that in years ago. There are medical services that would be compatible, that would attract clients and customers and, boost, foot traffic through the mall, all that sort of thing. We're open to that.
And the REA may have some wiggle room as far as medical goes, because there is a services, type component that it allows for. And I would argue that medical is considered a service use that we could certainly probably sell a lot easier.
It's like having your nails done, only a little more sophisticated, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, if we can have a lens crafters, that's,
right,
kind of, somewhat similar in use. More so than the nail salon.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Liz. Thanks for sharing some of that again. So do you have any questions, Tim, of Keith, Highland Liquors, Bob, Cabela's? Liz, of course, you've chatted with already while we're pausing.
I'm sorry, I was tied up doing other things, but and I appreciate the fact I've said to you folks on the EDC, these are the dialogues that you guys can encourage, and every chance you get to sit down with any of these entities to continue the conversation is helpful to the town, because everybody knows these aren't easy times for retail, and if the town can assist, I think, you're the EDC is the avenue to get that conversation going. So this is good to see.
Good. So Keith, given where your store is, you'll appreciate this information. So I spoke to Jed Hayes today at some length. Jed Hayes is the developer, the principal of the mall that you're in, Highland Commons. And he gave me some feedback. He apologized for being unavailable in general. He sold his interest about a year ago to Benderson. That's probably why he's been less responsive of late. He was very chatty. We spoke for about 20 minutes. He was going to see if he could get the VP of United States Leasing for Benderson, which is a mere 40 million square feet, to attend our meeting tonight, but he failed. Jed was unable to as well, in spite of his disconnect from Highland Commons. He's still there peripherally, but not directly. We talked about how things are going for him in general. He says Benderson's got deep pockets, and therefore they're able to be flexible financially with the COVID concessions and so forth. They're 85% full at Highland. They're working on much smaller projects. They used to be working on projects typically 150,000 to 300,000 square feet, and as high as this one, which is 800,000 or 1 million square feet. But now they're working on enhanced 7-Elevens, costing $12 million, which is far more expensive than normal. Supply chain is a big problem. There's a shock. He's friendly with Lowe's, the head of Lowe's Real Estate, and due to the supply chain problems, Lowe's is hoarding. He all but said it. Cap rates are squeezing, well, for him, upward, not downward, because interest rates are coming up, and so that's that. Tenant turnover is normal. There's a good deal of tenant interest still. He's going to find a representative to attend our next meeting, but it sounds like all is well at Highland Commons. It sounds healthy. If I forgot something, maybe you can ask me questions. That's pretty much it. He did call back to tell me that this gentleman, Mike Mundy, would not be able to join us. That's pretty much it. And he was apologetic for not being in touch.
Peter, when they say they're 85% occupancy, does that mean of the structures that exist, or does that not include the pads that haven't been built yet?
I don't know. I thought of the question when we were discussing it at the 18-minute mark. I didn't want to push my luck and ask yet more questions. He was very generous with his time, but I didn't want to push my luck. And I thought of that question sort of too late. My interpretation is that it's 85% of what's built, but I'm not sure.
Okay. And then Elizabeth, I looked at figures that Peter shared the other day that it looks like you've got 100 potential outside of the anchors. You've got 100 potential leasable spaces, and 75 are filled and 25 are not filled. If I look at that long list, is
Right.
But how is that played out in terms of square footage? Is Is it 25% of your square footage isn't leased right now, or is it a greater amount?
No, it's, I mean, if you don't count Sears, you know,
Right.
which, you know, we typically look more at the inline space, which is what I gave you that list, was just the inline spaces.
Right.
We're closer to 80% than 75.
Oh, good. Good.
Are there many concessions, Liz, or is it close to retail revenue?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that question. What was your question?
Has ownership made many concessions, rent revenue concessions, or is it close to the agreed leasing numbers?
I mean, we've had to make some concessions for to retain some of the tenants that were here that have suffered through COVID and didn't really get much satisfaction from Simon. So yeah, there's been a few deals that we had to go backwards on to, you know, continue to have the stores operate while we try to turn the ship. You know, Pacific's got a lot of good relationship with national tenants. So, you know, they sort of trust that when they are telling them that, you know, it's going to take a little bit of time to turn the ship, they're willing to, you know, go for the ride for a little while and see where they take it. So, there's been some, but it's not been, you know, anything really
Okay, thanks.
drastic.
Tim?
Hey, everyone. Sorry to jump in. It was great meeting with you all tonight, but I've got to jump off. Thanks for
Thank
all
you
your
very
support.
much.
Appreciate it. Go Easter Bunny.
Nice to meet you, Bob.
Nice to meet you too, Liz.
Happy Easter.
Bob, we'll look forward to talking to you when you have some feedback. Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Okay, thank you.
So
Next
long.
time you want a picture of you with the bunny.
Okay, done.
Is it me that's hearing a lot of choppiness, or is it, or everyone hearing choppy audio?
No, it's pretty
I'm
good.
getting it.
I'm getting a little.
Pretty good.
I
All
just
right.
assumed it was my internet.
No, I think it's, I don't know what it is. It's pretty bad for me. Well, let's try to wrap up. So I think what's left, besides new business and choosing a date, is the signs update. So Jason, can you give us a brief signs update and perhaps make a motion?
As far as an update goes, you know, they're ready to build the signs for us with a front and back. I did email them today and asked if they had preferred LED or solar lights that they use on signs, or if they, you know, recommended certain ones just because of the vast array that's available. I want to make sure we get the right selection. But they said that they can have a sign turnaround in like 2 weeks. And then if they're going to do the install, it might be like 2 weeks out. So within a month, we could have it in the ground upon approval through Cabela's there. So we're pretty much ready to go. It's just a matter of getting the funding.
Just to be sure, let me ask Tim, do we need to, I talked to June about releasing money, and she's explained that the money that Cabela's will pay into this will go to the town, then we'll withdraw it from the town, both the budget that we've got, which, as well as the Cabela's donation. Is there any approval, any further approval we need from planning or select? No? Tim, in your view?
Not from the planning board, I wouldn't think. It wouldn't do any harm to run by the selectmen one more time, probably, just to make sure that they're on board and satisfied, that they don't have any hoop that they want to have you jump through one more time.
Fair enough.
All right. Okay, all right. Jason, do you have a motion?
I can make a motion I make a motion to adopt a welcome sign project as discussed with funding as followed, 2,500 to be donated by Cabela's, subject to Cabela's initial approval or final approval, and up to 750 to be spent out of the EDC's special article budget to be administered by me, Jason Rowell.
I second that. Any discussion? Paul, Jeff, Jason, Tim?
Sounds good.
All right. Any clarification motion wise, Tim, that you advise us to insert?
No, I think you're fine.
All right. Let's take a vote. Paul,
All for it.
does somebody have something to say? Paul,
I'm said all for it. Yes.
Jeff,
I vote for it.
Jason,
Yes.
Peter, yes. All right, so the motion passes unanimously. So we'll have to wait for Cabela's to give us the final thumbs up. And then once it happens, if it does, Jason will get on the select board's agenda just to double check, and we're off to the races. And by the way, June Poland is the town accountant. That's why I called her. For those that don't know. Anything else to discuss or ask?
Can I ask Elizabeth one more question?
Please.
The Board of Appeals and the Planning Board and the Building Inspector have been involved in this discussion about the potential use of the parking lot behind Sears and in front of Sears for the temporary storage of construction equipment and materials.
Right?
And so you're familiar with that discussion, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did someone go to the zoning board of appeals meeting last night, or?
I did not go, but both the contractor and one of my coworkers was there, was on the Zoom call.
So I'll just throw out my planning board view of where we are, because this is turning out to be more complex than I think we thought it would be. Initially, the planning board said to the building inspector, there's an underlying industrial zone that's there, and go through the ZBA and have them look at this as a proposal and let them deal with it, because they have responsibility for industrially zoned parcels. But the mall itself, the overlay, is the responsibility of the planning board. And, you know, at first we just said, well, it's parking lot and it's industrial zone, let the ZBA deal with it. But the ZBA got to wondering about whether they were the logical place to go. So they asked us, and we talked about it the other night. And I think it may very well come back to the planning board, because any use of the parking lot that would impact the way in which the plot is zoned for the overlay has to be addressed by us, I guess. So we'll be looking at it at one of our upcoming meetings. The question, I guess, is if it's let's say it's a I think the way the proponent put the proposal on the table, it was open-ended in terms of its time schedule. At first I thought it was going to be like a 2-year cycle, but it isn't proposed that way in the language that the ZBA got. And when we began to think about it, we said, well, the what ifs come up. You know, what if you end up with an entity that wants to move into Sears and they need significant parking, and we've encumbered the space for how many years into the future with these other potential uses? So, you know, we sort of scratched our head and said, well, I guess we have to have some conversation with you folks about what that would imply.
Right, well, generally speaking, we would require that our agreement with the construction company that is leasing the space, that we have the right to terminate the agreement with X amount of notice. And then my understanding was it was a 24-month agreement, potentially up to 30, but no longer than that. So it would be limited to 2 years, maybe slightly longer. And, you know, as most of us probably know, the opportunity for that space to be purchased and operating within 2 years, it's pretty slim that it would happen that quickly. You know, that anyone who's retrofitting that space is going to take a while to do so. But I think more importantly, we would want the flexibility to be able to terminate the agreement and with obviously some reasonable timeframes so that they can go find another location. But I think that may, you know, help allay any concerns that the planning board might have.
No, that does. That clarifies. That helps a lot. And I can pass that along to the board when we meet again. The other question I guess we have in regard to the parking lot is that there had been in the past school buses parked there. Then they went over to the Fox Road site in Hudson. And now that seems to be maxed out and they seem to be back in your lot to some degree. But is that a long-term agreement or a short-term agreement or what's going on? That's
usually a 1-year agreement.
Okay.
Renewed every year. Yeah.
So in the past, I think the assessors paid attention to the school buses' presence, and either as personal property or through excise tax, the town benefited in some way. And I said to Molly, the assessor, how are we doing? Are we assessing these in some way if they're parked and garaged essentially in Berlin? And she said she was trying to get in touch with folks to try to figure out whether they were there for a much longer period of time and how many there were and that sort of thing. So should she reach out to you? Is that the logical approach, or should she reach out to someone else?
She can start with me, and then depending on what, you know, the questions are, I can pass her along to the right person.
Great. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to make that connection if you want to.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Have Molly connect with me.
Good. I will.
Okay.
Jeff, you're the last on. Anything new with Lancaster EDC?
Can I just, I'm sorry, I really also have to jump off. I'm sorry.
No, you're very
I have
generous to join us in the first place. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. It's nice to meet you.
Best of luck.
Bye-bye. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Mine's gonna be pretty short. I did finally get in touch with George Friends. It was actually just today that I was able to get in touch with him from the Lancaster EDC. They said they'd be receptive to coming to one of our meetings. They were sure somebody would probably be available depending on when it was scheduled. So I was going to reach back out after we scheduled our next meeting, because today's meeting was obviously short notice and also fairly full.
Good. Maybe you could not only reach out to him and do what you said, but make an email introduction between the three of us, and then as
Sure.
That'd be great. Okay, so that leaves anything else anybody else wants to talk about? Paul, Jason, Jeff? It's up to date. How long would you all like to wait for the next meeting?
Well, I think I would say, you know, if we're waiting on Cabela's and we might have to get in front of the select board, maybe a month.
It's fine with me. So
And if we have nothing, we can always push it.
yeah, that works. So the week of the 16th of May is roughly a month. Monday, the 16th onward. Any bad days for you guys?
Tuesdays and Wednesdays are bad for me coaching.
Want to do Thursday, the 19th of May?
I think that works.
Do we like 6 p.m. or 5:30?
6 would be better for me. We're open till 5 now on
Also me.
Thursdays.
Is that going to
Since
work
Jeff-
for you, Jason? Would you like it to be a little later or 6 works?
No, 6 can usually work.
Okay. How about for our honorary member?
Yeah, 7 might be better for me on that week. I have stuff going on in the afternoons of Tuesday and Thursday.
How about Monday, the 16th for 6? Does that work, or do you want to push it to, I don't think we should start at 7, or I'd prefer not to.
As long as they're done by 7, I can do Monday.
I don't know if I can assure that.
Yeah, I think
For-
Monday might be tough for me. I almost suggest we move it out a week.
Yeah, let's do the next week then. That's better for me.
Thursday, May 26th,
Yeah, that works fine.
Sounds lovely.
6
It
o'clock,
works for me.
honorary member. All right. That's all she wrote, unless you have anything else, Tim.
No, I'm sorry I was late again, but I learned a great deal, and this will help my conversation with the planning board in regard to the mall issues. So that's great.
If you have time, listen to the earlier part on the recording, and there's some, I think, some valuable stuff
Good.
before you joined. All right, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.